What it do, homies? It's your boy Dave, and I'm back today. We back here with another Yarnhub reaction. This time we checking out Soldier Worth a Million Men. Okay. Now I do have a single reaction to Yarnhub. I can't remember which one I did because I did it so long ago, and I told you guys that if it performed well, I was going to do them more. I do realize that was a while back and everything. But we're here now, okay, and we're doing some more. There is a description down here, but I'm not going to take time to read it right now because I imagine they're going to explain it all here in video form. So let's go ahead and shut up and turn it up and get ready to learn, baby.
It's April the 8th, 1918. The Battle of Lys, also known as the Fourth Battle of Ypres, is underway. In the trenches of northern France, 22-year-old Annibal Augusto Milhais and the 2nd Infantry Division of the Portuguese Expeditionary Corps waits under cover as heavy German artillery crashes down on their positions. They've been enduring a battle for nearly a year, and this bombardment for days. It was of a ferocity.
Man, see, that bombardments, I never did look at, kind of think about the size of the shells that they shoot them. I think that was either cannon or something, or like a motor. It's a motor. And that bombardment, and then you say you've been enduring that type of stuff for days. So the type of like PTSD and stuff that can cause, right? Because you have all these constant explosions and you're enduring that, and that's days. Sometimes you go without sleep. Ooh, that's tough.
A year, and this bombardment for days. It was of a ferocity not seen before, the sounds of the explosions almost merging together into a single, constant note.
Oh my
goodness.
goodness.
The never-ending hellfire, keeping the soldiers awake as they dread the possibility that at any moment they could be struck. Then, in the early morning, the artillery stops. The trenches fall under an eerie silence as the constant explosions come to a sudden end, replaced by a distant thunder. Milhais emerges from his dugout in the second line of trenches and takes a look outside. Weary soldiers all across the line do the same. The fog is incredibly thick, and visibility is such that he can barely see his own trench beyond a short distance,
Take advantage of it.
let alone no man's land. A rhythmic thunder of explosions reaches his ears, becoming louder and louder with each impact. He keeps his eyes on no man's land, trying to discern the source of the sound. Then, through the thick fog, a wall of explosions and fire emerges, headed straight towards him. Shreds of sandbags, wood, and dirt fly in all directions as the brutal bombardment decimates the front trench before stopping right between the front and second trenches.
The thing about something like this is to actually see, this is one thing that I love about what Yarnhub is doing. And they're kind of, we hear, about these type of things, and we read about these certain things, but to see them and know, right? And this is the scary part, to see this with our own actual eyes, right? It's going to give us a better perception of what went on. And but to partner that with the fact that this is a fact, that this is what happened, makes it even scarier, right? And you just start thinking about all the weapons of mass destruction that we make, right? And it's scaring me, and it's just an animated video, but this stuff actually happened. That's the scary part.
Decimates the front trench before stopping right between the front and second trenches. Milhais runs to his machine gun nest, ready to fight. But as the dust settles down, it reveals a line of fellow Portuguese soldiers standing around and dropping into the torn remains of the front trench. Milhais holds fire. Were those survivors of the bombardment? He turns to a group of 5 Scottish soldiers looking at the same scene alongside him and asks them, "Do you recognize them?" The Scots seem equally confused and unhelpfully respond, "They're Portuguese." Gunshots and screams sound from the front trench. They aren't Portuguese. Milhais readies his aim and desperately searches for targets as battle rages in front of him. Friend and foe clash in chaotic and confusing close-quarters combat.
Can't even help.
Milhais can only see glimpses of the Portuguese helmets moving around in the front trench. Then, ghostly figures emerge from the fog in no man's land. More Germans. Milhais unleashes his weapon, firing indiscriminately upon the charging soldiers. They fall in droves. Some take cover inside craters in no man's land. Others charge over their dead countrymen towards the Portuguese trench. Few make it. The Portuguese cover the retreat of their fellow soldiers and take out any German that tries to charge. Some of the Portuguese find themselves trapped in the front trench and are forced to make a run for it. only to get struck by the crossfire.
I just think about like the panic and fear, right? You sitting here literally running for your life, and then of course you're not going to know when you're getting shot, and then it just happens. Whew.
The Germans take over the front trench completely and redouble the attack on the second trench. It's a hellish scene, but Milhaes keeps firing his machine gun without hesitation, taking out entire waves on his own as his allies fall one by one around him. More soldiers appear from no man's land.
Scary.
The defenders fire upon them, inflicting heavy casualties, but they are far too many, and many successfully reach the trenches. Now reinforced, they charge up the communication trenches led by the elite stormtrooper units. Realizing that the position is about to be overrun, the Portuguese retreat to a supply trench even further back. Milhaes holds as long as he can before retreating with his allies. He runs up the trench system, German gunfire zipping past him. Escaping the trenches entirely, he jumps over a dirt wall and onto a road onto the other side. There he finds a bunch of Allied soldiers also taking cover from the German onslaught. They're tired and demoralized. Few of them even have a gun at all. "We are nothing but prisoners," a dejected soldier told another. Milhaes interjected, "We are not." He looks over the dirt wall. On the other side, he spots a group of Germans taking cover inside a bomb crater. They shout and charge towards them, bayonets fixed on their weapons.
Hold on, before we go on right here.
Dejected soldier told another. Milhaes interjected, "We are not."
Right here. See, this is awesome what Milhaes did, right? Because obviously, when you're faced with overwhelming forces like deadly force, right, you can simply just call it quits. But I'm not sure what's about to happen. They're gonna say it. But he made that decision, right? He made a decision in the face of death and said, "No, he might die," but he was like, I choose not to die. I'm going to try everything I can instead of cowering in fear. And I think it's something that's awesome to behold, because courage is an amazing thing to have. Okay. And, given the certain circumstances, if you're able to have courage in the face of death, like I applaud you, because a lot of people say that they have courage, but when boot comes to shove, because that's a lot of boot right there. Okay.
He looks over the dirt wall. On the other side, he spots a group of Germans taking cover inside a bomb crater. They shout and charge towards them, bayonets fixed on their weapons. Milhaes pulls up his Lewis gun and fires upon them alongside a handful of the hiding soldiers. The group of Germans don't stand a chance, and they fall in quick succession under the machine gun fire. Milhaes then looks back to the fearful soldiers, points them towards the road and tells them, "Get out, I'll cover you." The unarmed soldiers flee up the road, disappearing into the fog as Milhaes sets his attention back to the field of battle in front of him.
How many rounds can that hold?
He spots more advancing Germans, and he fires his gun upon them. The Germans take cover in the trenches and shell craters. Milhaes fires bursts of suppressive fire on top of their positions, keeping the Germans pinned down while he buys essential time for the Allies to retreat. Then, picking up his gun, he runs several meters to the side. Then he peeks out in his new position and fires a burst of bullets over the Germans' heads before relocating again. He repeats the motion over and over, dashing from right to left, firing bursts of machine gun fire from as many locations as he can.
See, I'm pretty sure they teach this in like military training, especially if I'm pretty sure they do, probably infantry, but I'm sitting here thinking about snipers, right? How they got to keep on the move, right? So your position isn't made out. This is 100% smart, because first off, the only type of reference they're going to have of where you are is where, from them ducking, and they have a general sense of where you are. But the fact that he's moving, this can trick the enemy, because they could be thinking, either, he's reloading, so this is our time to, advance, and then they realize he isn't where he is. He's way over here. He said he's traveled several meters, right? So we talking feet here. So he goes several feet another distance, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, he ain't reloading, or he done reloading, he's still firing, was just giving him that element of surprise. This is amazing. And probably, there's a whole lot of self-sacrifice videos out here, but this one, that's crazy. This is just a moment of just courage and heroism. Yes.
As quickly as he can, the Germans see nothing but a wall of dirt with muzzle flashes shining through the fog from multiple different locations. They keep their heads down as bullets slam into the ground around them, believing they are in the sights of a much larger force.
That's pretty.
Milhaes keeps up the act, fearlessly and tirelessly facing off an entire German attack force on his own. He picks up ammunition from fallen soldiers to prolong his fight as long as possible, but inevitably, he runs out of ammunition. Defenseless now, Milhaes dashes towards a piece of tent canvas that lay abandoned on the side of a road next to a dead horse and hides underneath it.
Ooh.
The Germans realize the fire has stopped and charge the road, but they find no one. Undeterred, they push on, giving chase to the fleeing Portuguese and Allied soldiers. Milhaes stays under the canvas, motionless, stilling his breath unless he give himself away. He can hear them running past him as he lay there. Hours pass, and the chaos of battle sounds more and more distant. Finally, he emerges from his hideout, but he is now alone behind German lines with
hours passed. Hours. You have to lay there still. Cold hours. Oh my goodness.
Finally, he emerges from his hideout, but he is now alone behind German lines with no idea of how far back his allies have been pushed. Around him there is nothing but death and destruction. The place is as quiet as the grave, except for the distant echoes of gunshots. Carefully, he runs across an open field towards trees in the distance. War was yet to leave its ugly scar upon these lands, so the trees and wetlands of the area have gone mostly untouched thus far.
Fresh air.
This gives Milhaes some much-needed cover, allowing him to navigate through the wilderness unseen, still carrying his Lewis gun. He moves carefully, heading in the general direction of the front line. As night falls, he is forced to find somewhere to rest, his exhausted body giving up on him. The next day, he presses on with renewed energy. While walking, he spots a Scottish major laying in a swamp. He's exhausted but uninjured. Milhaes picks up the Scot from the swamp and helps him recover, and together they continue the trek towards the Allied lines. 3 days after the start of the attack, the men managed to slip through the front lines. Both Milhaes and the Scottish major were warmly welcomed by the remains of their units and the British reinforcements. Annibal Augusto Milhaes would continue fighting in the war and went on to achieve amazing feats in the following months. For his actions, he was awarded Portugal's highest distinction, the Military Order of the Tower and of the Sword of Valor, Loyalty and Merit, as well as the French Légion d'honneur, both of which were delivered on the battlefield in front of 15,000 soldiers. Major Jaio Ferreira do Amaral, presenting his medal, said, "You are Milhaes, but you are worth millions of soldiers." He became the most decorated Portuguese soldier and a household name back at home.
Wow.
After the war, he lived a humble life. He married and had 9 children. The Portuguese government renamed his home village in his honor, where he passed away in 1970.
Oh man. He had a happy ending.
If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and please...
Oh, we had a happy ending. I was sitting here like, oh my goodness, man. That's crazy. Like I said, it's like courage and why? I mean, God, oh man, I'm so happy. 9 kids. Woo! I'm on my second one. I just had my baby girl. 9 kids. Wow. Not only was he, I'm assuming that he died of natural causes. But not only, did he do what he did to do, he saved lives, right? He fooled the German army, and he made it back to camp with an allied survivor, went home, got married, had kids, grew old. Whoo, man, I don't get no. That's an amazing story, man. I'm definitely going to remember this one, man. That's why I like doing these. That's why I like looking reactions to. That's why I like making. Sorry, guys, I'm stumbling my words. So That's why I like doing reactions to Sabaton and looking at Yarnhub, because it's not a waste of time, right? Learning stuff. It's never a bad day to learn something. You should be learning something new at least every day anyway. So, and I can tell you guys, I upload 3 videos a day, right, on this channel. And the amount of things that I've learned in 2 years since starting this channel is just musically and media and other things as well. So anyways, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and subscribe. Dave's out.